Live from Quezon City, Philippines. Your news, current affairs, and public service channel, MARGO TV Philippines. Live.
Good morning po sa inyong lahat, mga ka-MARGO listeners and ka-MARGO viewers. Ito pong muli si Shane pa dito lamang po sa ating programang Usapang Kabayan. At bago po tayo mag-proceed sa ating main topic, at please like, share, and subscribe and follow as well ang MARGO TV Philippines FB page, MARGO TV Philippines FB channel, and at the same time their YouTube channel as well. And of course, paki-like, share, and subscribe din po ang kanilang partner channel, the Philippine Event News TV. FB page, the Philippine Event News TV, YouTube channel, and of course, ang kanilang social media platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, or yung X, Pinterest, and of course, sa lahat po ng iba pang social media platform. Para po lagi po tayong naka-update po. Every time po tayo ay nagla-live. Hindi lamang po sa aking pong programa dito po sa ating programang Usapang Kabayan. Hindi lamang po dito sa akin, kundi pati na rin po dun sa mga ibang nagpo-programa po dito sa MARGO TV Philippines para palagi po tayong updated at nanonotify po tayo palagi every time na nagla-live po kami dito lamang po sa ating programang Usapang Kabayan under MARGO TV Philippines. At ngayon po ay dumako po tayo sa ating main topic po ngayon. And by the way, bago po pala tayo dumako sa ating main topic, meron po pala tayong, of course, yung ating good deeds, yung usapang good deeds, okay? Usually kasi kapag usapang good deeds, yan po ang pinag-uusapan po natin, yung mga magagandang ginawa po natin sa ating pong kapwa, okay? And at the same time, napakaganda po kasi nung good deeds po na ito, kaya lagi ko po itong ipopromote po sa aking programa kahit na wala po itong kapalit. Okay? Ito po ay walang iba kundi ang Dragon Lotus Corporation. Tech Ariel, paki-upload nga yung Dragon Lotus Corporation. I would like to say hi po kay Ma'am Judalyn Pacifico and of course kay Sir Wilson Bacalya, yung dispatcher po ng Dragon Lotus Corporation. Kung makikita po niyo dun sa ating screen, Dragon Lotus Corporation, ang kanila pong ruta from San Jose del Monte, Bulacan to Quiapo and vice versa. And of course, San Jose del Monte, Bulacan to Pitex and vice versa. Dalawa po ang kanila kasing ruta. Bakit ko po lagi yung pinopromote po dito sa aking programa kahit wala po itong kapalit? Because of the good deeds na ginawa po nila sa akin. Na nawala po yung aking notebook. Imagine, in a matter of 2 days time, notebook lang po yun In a matter of 2 days time, ito po ay naibalik po kaagad sa akin. And nalaman ko rin po pala sa management na may mga iba pa pong nawawala o naiiwan ng kanilang mga pasahero at ito po ay nababalik po kaagad-agad. Bakit? Dahil meron po kasi silang GC ng mga bus association ng San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. So ina-announce lang po nila doon sa GC po nila kung let's say merong may nawala o whatever mga things na nawala o kaya phone, ito po ay kaagad-agad po nilang na isosole. So sa mismong may-ari And of course, ako po ay saludo po sa inyo sa management ng Dragon Lotus Corporation at mabuhay po kayo. Kaya naman po tayo po ay dumako sa usapang relaxation. Pag relaxation, 'di ba po, kailangan na stress-free po tayo, 'di ba? And at the same time, malapit na rin po pala ang actually ang summer. So kailangan na po tayo mag-relax, mag-unwind, 'di ba? Ito po ay walang iba kundi ang Adventure Resort located po sa Norsagaray, Bulacan. At ito po ay makikita po ninyo yung almost 8 wonders of the world. Hindi mo na kailangang magpunta pa sa abroad para magpa-picture o pumunta para lang to kumbaga experience yung iba't ibang klase ng mga tanawin na magaganda. Katulad po ng Golden Gate ng San Francisco, USA. Makikita po ninyo doon. And at the same time, isa rin to doon sa mga Instagrammable, yung Eiffel Tower ng Paris. And of course, yung Grand Canal ng Italy. So lahat po yan, isa yan sa mga Instagrammable at kumbaga copycat ng 8 Wonders of the World. So ano pa po hinihintay po natin? Pumunta po tayo sa Adventure Resort, located lamang po sa Norsagaray, Bulacan. Tech Ariel, paki-upload nga yung AVP po nila. Okay, so yan, nakita po ninyo ang AVP ng Adventure Resort located lamang po sa North Sagaray, Bulacan. Napaka-lapit lang po sa highway. So, i-search lamang po ninyo Adventure Resort. Meron po pala silang FB page. So, please like and share din po ang kanilang FB page. Adventure Resort located po sa North Sagaray, Bulacan. And ngayon po ay dumako na po tayo sa pinaka-main topic po natin at ito po ay
On March 28, 2025, a 7.7 earthquake struck Myanmar and Thailand, leaving us with unnerving scenes of the earthquake's power and devastation as cranes toppled everywhere, buildings collapsed everywhere, and even bridges were bouncing all over the place. Rooftop pools and water tanks were bursting at the seams, while many buildings were left unusable and will probably have to be demolished. There were scenes of nurses trying to save babies in hospitals during the earthquake. Amazing footage, and people who barely escaped with their life. We are going to look at why some buildings came crashing down to the ground, while other buildings sort of stood their ground and just kept swaying to the music. I'll show you videos that display the awesome strength and physics behind earthquakes. And these unnerving videos will show us just how mankind always tries to outsmart nature. Now, Microsoft AI software analyzed some satellite images, and it showed that 515 buildings had 80 to 100% damage, and 1,500 buildings had 20 to 80%. So as of the time of this video, there was a private school that had 40 students and 2 teachers were killed, when you can see here in this photo that it collapsed. And then there was also a monastery where 200 Buddhist monks had been killed as well. So it was pretty serious. And overall, they say that there's over 10,000 buildings across Myanmar that have collapsed or become severely damaged. And there was amazing rescues from the rubble of rescuing people alive and pulling them out safe. Amazing in some of these collapses. And residents everywhere were catching the most incredible videos of these building collapses. Everywhere you look, there's video of buildings coming down, temples coming down, kids stuck in the rubble of buildings that need to be rescued, buildings that are leaning, people in the streets not knowing where to go or what to do. And check this one out. This is the 2 tall buildings that were swaying in Bangkok, and the bridge between them is falling apart. But if you look where that green arrow is, you can see a man that jumped across the bridge as it was cracking. That's got to be the luckiest guy in Bangkok today, surviving that earthquake. And it's amazing how these tall buildings all just swayed. Look at these 2. They're swaying left and right there. And that's exactly what you want them to do. What you don't want them to do is sway too far or just snap in half. That's why they're flexible like this. Now, this one was really scary here. A window washer got caught hanging on the building there, and he's just hanging on for dear life as that water tank on top of the building is unloading over him. And luckily he's sort of off to the side, but there'll be some parts of it where you'll see just a lot of water is ending up on top of him. And here's another very scary one right here. So this crane, at the same time that you can see the water tower is emptying its contents from the top of the building. And so here's another view of it, and you can see why I always warn people about staying away from cranes, even when there's not an earthquake. Just walk across the street or away from it, get by it as fast as you can. This one is very unnerving here. Can you imagine driving across this cable-stayed concrete bridge and feeling it bounce around like that? It looks like it's moving up maybe 10 feet or so. So let's take a closer look at the many angles that we have of this tower collapsing in Thailand. Based on the reports, this was the only tower we know of that collapsed in Bangkok. And it was built in a partnership between the Italian Thai Development PCL and the China Railway No. 10 Engineering Group. So that should tell you something right there. So the building had been topped out a year before in April 2024, and it was only 30% done in construction when it collapsed. This was the State Audit Office building under construction. But here you can see it coming down, and there goes the crane. And then here is another clip taken from down the street from a different angle. And this one doesn't show the collapse, but you can see when they zoom in, you can see the crane is swaying front to back big time. And here's another view from the street. You can hear the people just panicking as they run away. And then here, again, someone captured it from a different angle. But look, they had the camera off of the tower when the collapse started. But at least they captured some of it coming down. Now this video shows it with the best clarity of where and how it started. It looks like it started up near the top. And we're going to show this again in slow motion so we can analyze the top of it there. I slowed it down 5x here for you so you can see the progression of the collapse from the roof. So if we go back here to the beginning of it, let's take a look at the building. Now, first of all, make sure you realize that, look how it's smooth down the left edge. So this is just before everything started to go south on it. Now, I can't tell if it looks like this column here is leaning to the right a little bit. Doesn't it look like it's not going quite straight? And that there might be something wrong with these two. That's what I'm a little uncertain of. It just looks like we have, across this level here, we have some sort of imbalance in the straight line, because you notice how these are all straight lines going across here on these floors. But these floor sections here seem to be already out of alignment there. So I don't know if that caused something up here and maybe a weakening of these columns. So let's just kind of pull it forward a little bit so you can see it's starting to sink already. So it sank right here first. See that in the middle? And we go down a little more, and then a little more, and now you're starting to see buckling on the side of the building here. Okay, but look, I'm also seeing some buckling down here as well. You see that right there on the left? And I'm seeing a little buckling on the right side of the building going down. Because remember, this was all perfectly straight edge a couple of seconds before. Let me back it up. See how everything is a perfect straight edge? You don't see any buckling or bulges or anything. It's just a nice flat edge. Then as it starts to collapse down, boom, there it goes. So now you're starting to see all the way down buckling here. Even though there's something happening at the top right now, there also seems to be buckling going at the bottom. So the collapse of this 33-story building in Bangkok, Thailand, looks very similar to the way the Champlain Towers condominium here in Miami collapsed. So those of you who have been following my channel for years, you've seen all of my videos that I've done on that Miami condo collapse. And you can see here how the two just look so similar, where it looks like it started at the roof, even though the one in Miami really started down in the basement. It collapsed first, but it caused the roof up above to collapse also, as all of the floors came pancaking down. So this almost makes me think that something happened at the bottom first, and we're going to show you that in another clip coming up. But I just wanted to show you here the progression in a little bit of more of a slower manner so we could see how everything happened. And gosh, this looks so much like the 9/11 attack on the World Trade Center. But, you know, this is what happens when a building is pancaking. This is a classic pancaking. It just comes straight down. Now, this is by far the closest and clearest video showing it collapsing from the bottom, right at the construction site. Here again, I slowed the video down 5x for you. So now we can see it in a little bit more of a slower motion. And then we'll analyze it. But here you can see it's beginning to fall. There's your panels on the left sliding off and buckling. Now they're all buckling, and there comes your columns at the bottom. So after this, we'll take a look at it and see if we can't pinpoint where it first started at. Okay, so as we start off at the beginning, here's the workers walking on the ground. And I want you to pay special attention to this area right in here, because you're going to see some plume of dust cloud starting to form here, and it will get bigger and bigger. Now, I wish we had had the whole view going all the way up to the top, because at this point, we don't know if these clouds of dust are going to happen here before the roof up top started to pancake down. So that's kind of crucial to be able to tell what happened. But let me move it forward a bit here. And as we come up a bit, a few more seconds, look right here. You see that? That's a cloud of dust that is starting there. And this also looks like it might be bending here, like it's giving away at this point, whatever this is. So it looks like it's something that's still under construction at the bottom there, even though this building was capped off a year ago. So the entire skeleton of this building should be able to withstand any type of acoustic amplification from earthquake, even 600 miles away. So now as we move ahead another half second or so, you can see there's getting to be more dust there and more here. So something is already happening at this part of the floor. And notice how that at this point, the glass on the left is already buckling, and some of these panels are just getting ready to pop off now. Pop it back a couple of seconds. Remember how smooth, there it is, nice and smooth there. And in just a few seconds, it's already getting rippled there on the left side. And then notice how our dust cloud is now spread to these. It almost looks like, if this is indeed a flat slab connection to these columns here, they're popping here. It's almost doing a punching shear. If that is the type of a connection that they have here, it's a punching shear. Yeah, and so one of the columns around the bottom here must have buckled, or you started to see some punching shear in some of the columns. And so now you can see the whole building is now getting ready to come down. And right here, poof, these two columns already gave way at this point. So these two have just snapped. They didn't even hold it together. So I bet some of the engineers are going to be looking at the rebar. What's the quality of the rebar? Too much rebar, not enough aggregate in the concrete. And see, now you're getting a view up at the top what's going on. And it sort of looks like it's already started to pancake up top there. But, you know, it really seems like something happened down in this area first. My money says this building filled at the bottom first. See, so here it comes down now. And then you have a cloud and you can't even really tell what's happening from this point on. Okay, so you're thinking, great, so Thailand hasn't had any major earthquakes there pretty much ever. So why was this a problem with this earthquake being 600 miles away? In fact, here is a map showing all of the earthquakes that have struck Thailand since 1920. And as we can see looking at the map, they've had very, very few earthquakes in Thailand. In fact, none of them have really been all that big at all. I think it looks like the magnitude of 5 right here. So Myanmar is back here, and here's Mandalay. Here's where the earthquake that struck last week was. But you can see they've had numerous large-scale earthquakes all over in Myanmar, and then, of course, offshore as well. But nothing big. And then here's Bangkok, a full 600 miles away. How could the earthquake from last week affect Bangkok this far away? That's exactly how it works. So engineers and architects keep coming up with more ideas to isolate the building's movement from the Earth's movement below. Here's another example here of some other things that they've tried. The one on the right seems to be the one that we saw the most in action there on some of those videos in Thailand, where the tall condominiums just swayed left and right, but yet they didn't snap, they didn't break, and they certainly didn't collapse like that embarrassment of a 33-story building in Thailand 600 miles away. Now, you may have seen this clip going around on the news. I'm sure pretty much everybody's seen it by now. But they didn't show you as long as what I have. I have the full-length clip that I'm going to show you because they just showed you a few seconds of it. And I wanted to show you some of the things that happened that the news people did not point out to you. So here's some people hanging out in their pool there, and finally they got wise and decided to climb out. That was probably the best decision they could have made. And luckily, they also left the pool deck area, because had this entire pool collapsed and gone overboard, off to the side there, they could have been siphoned out along with the water. In fact, you just saw the lady fall down a second ago there, so there was already water going in both directions there. So this could have been really deadly. Now, I want you to take a look at this here. So just when we think things are done and that it looks like it's settling, all of a sudden, ooh, look at this. Watch what happens now. Oh, there goes the raft. So had they stayed on that raft, they could have gone right over the side of the building. Now, this might be an infinity pool, but it also may not be an infinity pool. When you have this amount of water rushing over the edge, like you see there, look at that. You're going to get sucked over the edge with that. That's a huge amount of water. You're not going to be able to fight that. And of course, it all settles down here now. But now let me show you something that happened here. Okay, now here is something that they didn't really mention on all those news clips. Now, see the volume of water that's hitting this? You think you're safe because you have this glass fence right here. But I bet nobody was thinking about an earthquake at this time. But watch what happens to this glass panel as the water keeps slapping against it. Right here, watch this right here. You're going to see these panels disappear. They're going to go over the side of the building. And if anybody had been sitting right there on the edge of the pool, who knows, they might have been taken out with them. Like there it goes right there. Boom. It just, these three sections here just disappeared over the side. So that is really, really bad. Next thing, now there goes more water now. And that's what enabled the raft to then go over a little while later. This one raft, see, boom. Because now the glass.
Rồi mía là nó.
Over 1,600 dead and more than 3,000 injured. Those are the grim numbers emerging from Myanmar as a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck central Myanmar on March 28, 2025. The devastation is still unfolding, and these numbers are rising by the hour as rescue teams work tirelessly to locate survivors. The earthquake struck 16 kilometers north-northwest of Sagaing, near Mandalay, at a shallow depth of just 10 kilometers. This shallow depth meant that the quake was felt with shocking intensity, not only across Myanmar but also in neighboring countries like Thailand, India, and China. In Mandalay, Yangon, and other major cities, people fled their homes in panic as the streets shook violently. The ground cracked, roads buckled, and buildings trembled. It's no surprise that the death toll continues to climb as the destruction is widespread, and every moment brings new updates. The damage in Mandalay is heartbreaking. Entire structures have collapsed, glass shattered, and streets are now strewn with debris. Visible cracks are spreading through buildings that were once considered sturdy, and power lines are swaying dangerously above the wreckage. In the historic city of Bagan, the tragedy is even more profound. Ancient Buddhist temples and pagodas, which had withstood centuries, are now reduced to rubble. Some of the country's most beloved landmarks now gone forever. And the situation in Sagaing, the region closest to the epicenter, is nothing short of devastating. Multiple buildings have been flattened, leaving many trapped beneath the wreckage. Emergency services are scrambling, and the number of casualties continues to rise. The earthquake was caused by strike-slip faulting along the Sagaing Fault, a major geological feature marking the boundary between the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates. This fault has long been a source of seismic activity in the region, and earthquakes of this magnitude are a reminder of the ongoing tectonic stress along this boundary. But the damage extends far beyond Myanmar. The quake sent shockwaves across Southeast Asia. In Thailand, it was felt more than 1,200 kilometers away in Bangkok, where skyscrapers swayed, causing mass evacuations. Office workers, residents, and even tourists rushed out into the streets as buildings trembled. The sight of high-rise buildings swaying for nearly a minute left many shaken, especially in Bangkok's Chatuchak district, where a 30-story building under construction collapsed, leading to numerous casualties. According to reports, at least 10 people were confirmed dead, including 8 workers at the collapsed construction site. Over 100 individuals were reported missing, with 68 injuries confirmed. Emergency services are actively engaged in rescue efforts, with 43 construction workers still unaccounted for. The incident prompted Thai authorities to declare Bangkok an emergency zone, mobilizing extensive resources to assist in rescue operations and provide aid to those affected.
น้ำกระเด็นลงมาหมดเลย ดูแผ่นดินไหวโอ้ยอะไรวะเนี่ย
น้ำล้นน้ำล้นน้ำล้น
The whole building collapsed.
Holy shit.
Further north, in Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, closer to Myanmar's border, the shaking was even stronger, causing light fixtures to swing, windows to rattle, and residents to panic. In India, tremors were felt as far as Assam, Manipur, Nagaland, and Mizoram, where people were left in fear as they reported noticeable shaking in their homes and offices. Even in Kolkata, workers felt the quake, leading to precautionary evacuations. In China's Yunnan province, people reported furniture moving and walls shaking, but fortunately, no major damage has been reported so far. Aftershocks continue to haunt the region, with magnitudes between 4.5 and 6.2, and they're expected to keep coming for days, keeping rescue teams on high alert and making already weakened structures even more dangerous. Authorities are urging people to stay away from heavily damaged buildings and to be ready for even more aftershocks. In the midst of all this chaos, international aid is pouring in from China, the United States, India, South Korea, Malaysia, and other nations, as teams of doctors, rescue workers, and humanitarian aid arrive to provide help.
There's been a very serious earthquake in Burma, Myanmar today, with up to several hundred killed. The military regime there has asked for help from anybody.
Yeah, we're going to be helping. We've already alerted the people. Yeah, it's terrible what's happened. And we've already spoken with the country.
Rescue operations are ongoing, but it's clear that the road to recovery will be long. Myanmar lies along the Sagaing Fault, an area known for seismic activity, so earthquakes like this one are not uncommon. But the sheer scale of this devastation has left the country, and much of Southeast Asia, reeling. The full extent of the damage is still being assessed, and with each passing hour, the situation is growing more dire. As rescue operations intensify, it's clear that Myanmar's struggle isn't over yet. Collapsed buildings, injured survivors, and entire communities devastated. This will take time to rebuild, but the people of Myanmar are resilient, and they will rebuild. To the victims of this devastating earthquake, our hearts ache for the lives lost, for the families torn apart, and for the unimaginable grief felt by so many. You are not alone. The world stands with you in your sorrow, your strength, and your unwavering hope for recovery. We send our deepest condolences and our support knowing that from the rubble, hope will rise once again. Stay with us as we continue to follow the latest updates from the region, where the death toll is still rising, and the rescue efforts are pushing forward despite the challenges. This is one of the most devastating earthquakes in recent history, and it's not over yet.
A collapsed city, he said, estimating that about a fifth of the buildings had been destroyed. And we received calls for help from people from the inside, but we cannot help because we do not have enough manpower and machines to remove the debris, but we will not stop working. General Min Aung Hlaing, leader of Myanmar's military junta, said there would be more deaths and casualties and invited Garani country to provide help and donations. Speaking at the White House later on Friday, US President Donald Trump said he had spoken with officials in Myanmar and that his administration would be providing some form of assistance. We're going to be helping, Chaui told reporters. Despite the administration's push to shut the US Agency for International Development and cut nearly all remaining jobs, State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said USAID disaster experts were ready to help, including with items such as food and potable water. USAID has maintained a team of disaster experts with the capacity to respond if disaster strikes, she told a press briefing. We are ready to move now. There has been no impact on our ability to perform those duties, those requests for aid, if and when they come in. In the Thai capital Bangkok, an official said at least 9 people had been killed. Rescuers were searching through the rubble of the tower block that collapsed.
ถล่มในเจเจหมดว่ายินไปเหมือนกันเฮ้ยคนที่อยู่ตรงนั้นมีใครเป็นอะไรหรือเปล่าเฮ้ยมีใครเป็นอะไรเปล่าไม่รู้ตึกโดนไม่รู้ไปค่ะฝุ่นค่ะรีบวิ่งค่ะตึกถล่มสานะไปค่ะพี่วิ่งค่ะมันฝุ่นค่ะ
Live from Quezon City, Philippines. Your news, current affairs.
Okay, napakarami po ng ating po pinag-usapan ngayong hapon. At kulang na kulang po talaga ang oras po natin, di ba po? At yun nga po, dahil sa marami pa po sana akong gusto pong ipakita o ilagay na video at pictures po, ay kaya lang talagang kulang na kulang po. Kasi yung isang oras, actually po, akala ko nga po, sobra-sobra na yung isang oras, pero kulang pa rin po. Sa dami po ng ating pinag-uusapan po dito lamang po sa ating programang Usapang Kabayan. Kaya kung gusto nyo po kaming masundan at palagi po kayong updated, ulitin ko po, dito lamang po sa ating programang Usapang Kabayan, please like, share, and subscribe po ang ating Margo TV Philippines FB page, Margo TV Philippines YouTube channel, and of course, ang ating partner channel, the Philippine Event News TV. Please like, share, and subscribe ang kanilang FB page, the Philippine Event News TV YouTube channel, and of course, ang kanilang social media pages, katulad po ng LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, and para palagi po tayong updated sa lahat po ng mga nagpo-programa po ng live dito lamang po sa ating programa Usapang Kabayan at sa Margo TV Philippines, okay? And of course, maraming salamat sa ating technician, Tech Ariel, and Tech DJ. Maraming salamat sa inyo. At sa ating mga OJTs, maraming salamat din. And of course, I would like to personally to thank Attorney Jigs Magpantay. Maraming salamat po. And of course, kay Madam Maruha, maraming salamat po, ma'am. And of course, dahil napakarami po nating pinag-usapan, and kung meron po tayo mga topic or let's say mga kumbaga kamangha-mangha o kaya nakaka-alarma o let's say ano bang tawag doon? Kumbaga kabig-bighani na mga topic, pwede po kayo mag-email sa aking email address which is Nez, that's NEZAguilar2013@gmail.com, at ito po ay ating tatalakayin sa susunod po nating programa dito lamang po sa ating programang Usapang Kabayan. At bago po tayo magtapos, ako po ay may iiwang isang mahalagang kasabihan. We always spread news. We always spread good ideas through screen and online broadcasting. By the way, this is Shane Pe, and dito lang po sa ating programang Usapang Kabayan. God bless, and I love you all.
Live from Quezon City, Philippines. Your news, current affairs, and public service channel, Margo TV Philippines. Live